back out of the hands of Damone Johnson. Boy, give Maurice Douglas all the credit in the world. He flips it right to Dave Duerson. Sensational defensive play. Damone Johnson, he had it trying to fight for it, and Maurice Douglas just stripped it away.
Doing a good job filling in for an injured Sean Gale, who they lost several weeks ago with an injured neck. Douglas with some fine plays.
First down, Chicago. Just into Ram territory. Anderson looks for room to the outside. And Gray makes the tackle. Gray forces him out of bounds after a short gain to the 47 with 11:39 to play in the third period.
I think Jerry Gray was just delighted to see that it was Neil Anderson coming out there instead of James Thornton. Someone a little closer to his own size that he could strap on and get him out of bounds. Good corner technique that time by Jerry Gray, coming up supporting the run and forcing the dangerous Anderson out of bounds.
2nd and 7, Chicago at the Ram 47-yard line. Rams on top 6-3. Suey. And Matt gets to the 45-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 6. He's stopped there by Doug Reed.
Curious call there, wouldn't you say, Frank? Trying to get outside on a defensive team that has gone with a speed alignment tonight, trying to come all the way across the formation and break that contain, with Matt Suey being the guy carrying the ball.
And they've had better fortunes inside. You're exactly right. Again, it's a defense that keeps changing, and it's what John Robinson, I think you're going to see a lot of in the future for him. But sometimes in there with multiple linebackers, a couple of down linemen, but changing all the time.
From the gun on 3rd down and 6. And Anderson, on a play they ran before, picks up 3. And he's short of the first down by about 3, taking it only to the 42-yard line. So they snap it right to Anderson, but he's short of the first down. And it's Farronage in on the tackle.
You know, it's interesting. The Rams defensive linemen, they do not have the one lineman that goes 260 pounds or more, and that, of course, is Greg Meisner. The Bears only have 2 under 270 pounds, so it could be they're using a lot of speed linebackers because they just don't have the size anymore. The offensive lines today up around 290, 300. You need some size. Either that or a lot of quickness.
Wagner to punt. The Rams have 2 men deep, Johnson and Hicks. And the kick goes out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. They'll spot it just inside the 15 with 10 minutes and 9 seconds to play in the third quarter.
Rams ball first and 10.
Pretty well right now. He's looking after him.
Absolutely.
Glared at us. What are you doing in here?
They don't call him Iron Mike for nothing.
From the 15-yard line, Everett throws complete to the 28-yard line to Henry Ellard for a 13-yard pickup and a first down.
I think that's something that the Rams are going to have to do. They're going to have to be a little more creative on first down. You are just not going to stuff the ball down the throat of the Chicago Bears by consistently trying to run at them on first down. I think you're going to have to open it up. That's the kind of thing Everett is going to have to do.
And time called for the moment by Fred Silva. And the indication would be a look upstairs by Royal Cathcart. And that obviously they're reviewing perhaps whether or not the pass was caught inbounds by Ellard on the far side. And it was the line judge, Jack Johnson, who joins the conversation, who made the live call.
Well, they can look at it all they want. I don't see what's beautiful. I don't see what the big deal was. It looked like a solid catch to me.
I don't know what else they could be looking at, but he certainly came down with both feet in bounds. Well thrown ball over Al Harris, number 90, right into the hands of Ellard. 1 down. I don't think there's any question.
It looks pretty simple to me that Henry Ellard, when he caught the ball, just plops both feet down.
10:04 to play in the third quarter.
Well, this game was moving along at a pretty brisk pace. Guess it was time to throw out the anchor.
Yeah. I mean, of all plays, too, it appears he has both feet down at one point and then gets another foot down.
Well, here he's up in the air. There he's caught the ball. And, you know, there were both feet down.
Both feet down, and then he puts the right one down again.
Well, you heard Fred Silva in the background say the play stands as called, and justifiably so.
3 feet in. First down from the 29.
Maybe that's what was confusing.
Right. Bell makes it up to the 35.
Maybe an odd number is not permissible.
Greg Bell to the 35-yard line. Second down and 4.
It's like ping pong. You have to win by 2.
Anaheim Stadium, home of the Rams. As John Robinson said, well, we get a different kind of crowd here. This is not quite called the pit. Laid-back crowd. Second down and a long 3 from the 36.
And a lot of Bears on the line of scrimmage. Too many.
A lot in the backfield.
Bell runs into 3 of them firsthand. Dan Hampton, Al Harris leading the charge.
The Rams are not much of an audible team. Jim Everett told us that. And there's a situation where the Bears, in the way they aggressively crowd the line of scrimmage, really force you into an audible situation. And if you're not going to audible, if you're just going to take the stance that, well, whatever we have called ought to work, you're going to have a lot of negative yardage plays. I mean, that play is doomed from the outset. No chance whatsoever.
3rd and 10 from the 29-yard line. Ellard at the 40-yard line has the first down. They needed 10. He gets 11. He ran to the 40, makes the catch, picks up the first down by half a yard.
And they find Lemuel Stinson filling in for Mike Richardson, but give Jim Everett a lot of credit. He stayed in there. That pocket was collapsing all over him. Ellard takes Stinson upfield, breaks it to the sideline, and Everett rifled it out there. Now watch the pocket start to collapse down. And Everett has driven number 32, Lemuel Stinson, way back and then breaks it to the sidelines.
And again, a veteran receiver.
Everett now off the fingertips of Ellard.
A veteran receiver, I was going to say, and knowing where the first down marker was and sitting down beyond it. I think we're going to look at this one and say that this is a ball that at first impression looked catchable by Henry Ellard. Let's look at it from this angle. Well, I think that's a situation where he's cognizant of what's coming from the inside.
He is more than cognizant. He is totally aware that Douglas is on a full sprint.
Henry's arms normally appear to be longer than they looked on that particular play.
You think he was thinking of Gary Fensick, perhaps? How about longer there, or Dorison?
How about Doug Plank? He's the guy that used to come over and really put it to you.
2nd and 10. Here's Bell for a gain of 6 to the 46-yard line, setting up 3rd and 4.
Tom Newberry, the talented left guard of the Rams, is awful slow getting up. He's appearing to have some trouble finding his way back to the Rams huddle. This guy was a second-round draft choice a couple of years ago out of Wisconsin lacrosse, and he's really developed into the Rams' best offensive lineman. They're most versatile. Jackie Slater's probably been their #1 guy for a long time, but Newberry certainly the guy that's going to have to carry the load for the years to come.
Doug Smith, of course, Pro Bowl center also.
3rd and 3. Off balance, Everett throws to the 45, complete for a first down as he hits Ron Brown, the once and future wide receiver who, as you'll recall, retired, tried track and field, then sought a trade. Other teams wanted too much. Rams held on to him. Brown was forced to sign again with the Rams if he wanted to play football, and so here he is again in an LA uniform.
Of course, we saw him in Indianapolis for the Olympic trials. It didn't work out quite like he thought. There was a lot of speed there, and Ron Brown did not qualify. Chopped it around, as Al mentioned, and is back with the Rams.
Only a second catch of a brief season for him. He signed his mid-year first down at the 43-yard line. Everett, incomplete.
And even if that ball would have been caught, I don't think it would have counted because I think the receiver ended up being out of bounds on the play.
Dynamite coverage by Bestie Jackson. He was with him all the way, a little square out and down. Had him all alone, too.
I talked earlier about pressure from inside. There's Dan Hampton working on Newberry, and you can see he gets Newberry out of position by one beating him to the outside, feeling Newberry overcommit, and then working back to the inside. Bestie Jackson with the inside coverage, and Aaron Cox went out of bounds. So even if that is a catchable ball, if he does bring it down, it's not going to count. Can't go out and then come back in and make a catch.
2nd and 10 from the 44-yard line. Here's Greg Bell who picks up 1. Bell now has 998 yards this season, too shy of the 1,000 mark. It'll be 3rd down and 9 with 6 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, and the Rams on top 6-3. Goodyear Columbia, Anaheim Stadium. Gorgeous night. Temperature today in Southern California up into the high 70s. About 70 degrees right now. Full house. Looking on as the Rams come to the 43-yard line, 3rd down and 10. Flag incomplete. Intended for Flipper Anderson. He was covered by Vestige Jackson.
Cal Harris jumped off bottom of the screen. I'm sure you saw it. That'll give the Rams another go at it.
And it'll make it 3rd and 5.
Defense, number 90. Offside. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
3rd and 5 coming up at the 39-yard line.
You can see it right here. Al Harris finds himself in the neutral zone, and what's unfortunate here is even though that's a minor indiscretion when your offense isn't moving the ball at all, any defensive penalty like that that gives the Rams another shot is really overly magnified in its importance. And Al Harris, I'm sure, isn't going to take a deep breath until this down is over.
3rd and 5. Rams send Elliott in motion. Everett under pressure, stepping up, chased from behind, gets to the 33, should have a 1st down. Tackled by Troy Johnson, but enough for a 1st. So the penalty proves costly to Chicago as the Rams keep the drive alive with 5:34 to go in the 3rd quarter.
A couple of big plays by Jim Everett running the football tonight. He's not what you call a scat back out of there, but he had nowhere to go. Good coverage downfield. Pressure was collapsing the pocket. He decides to pull it down. As you can see, getting pressure from the outside, and Troy Johnson, who comes in there for Sean Smith on passing occasions, puts the pressure on. He pursues, gets the tackle, but 1st down Rams.
At the 32-yard line, it's McGee in motion. And Everett throws an interception into the hands of Morrissey at the 20 and back to the 33-yard line. By far his worst pass of the night, and it comes late in the 3rd quarter after the Rams had been given a big break with Harris offside.
And good luck trying to figure out where Jim Everett was going with that ball. Morrissey, maybe he fooled Everett because he lined up at the outside, making it look like he's going to blitz, and then drops back into coverage. And I guess that Jim Everett was looking for someone to come from the middle, but wow. We saw an easy interception in the 1st quarter, and I mean at the end of the 1st half by Vestige Jackson, but this one was even easier for Jim Morrissey, just thrown right to him.
That one baffles me.
1st down from the 33-yard line, and a gain of 1 for Thomas Sanders to the 34-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 9, and Jim Collins is in on the tackle.
Again, the Chicago Bears, you really have to marvel at the way they can play defense. I mean, this is a high-scoring Ram machine. Unfortunately, their defensive play isn't being mirrored by their offense. That's a pretty miserable performance by the Bear offensive unit.
2nd and 10 from the 34. Make it 2nd and 9 from the 34-yard line. Receivers are covered, so then he has to dump it off in a one-handed catch made by Sanders, and then he pays the price at the 35-yard line. Alvin Wright gets credit for the tackle.
Think about that point. Sanders would like to give it back to him. Let me try this, Buster. It's crowded over here.
That's where you say no thanks. Jim Harbaugh is much better off running with the football. You can see there's no one anywhere near him, and he throws what is really pretty much of a lateral pass. Sanders wasn't any more than a yard or 2 downfield. One, he forces him into making a fabulous catch, a beautiful one-handed grab, but then he just gets beat up.
Oh, he got buffeted about.
Sensational catch, though, here by Thomas Sanders. But the effort needed to catch the ball doesn't give him much of an opportunity to do anything afterwards.
All that for no gain. 3rd and 9 from the 35-yard line.
Safety blitz.
Look out. And Harbaugh hit as he threw, as Johnny Johnson came unmolested through the middle and decked him. 4th down.
The Rams defense is totally keeping the Bears off balance tonight.
Johnny Johnson, I'm sorry, Frank, really disguises this pretty well. Look at him all the way back here. He's going to split this gap and get into Harbaugh. A good job of not showing it too early. And Jim Harbaugh realizes he's got nowhere to go with that football. Well timed by Johnson.
Oh, perfect.
Who started 7 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Wagner to kick now. Hicks back for the Rams at the 25-yard line. Hicks at the 29. No blocking. Brings it back out to the 34-yard line. Rams have it there. 3:19 to go in the third quarter. It remains Rams 6, Bears 3.
I think you're having to look at a Ram offense right now that their number one priority is don't make a mistake. Don't fumble. Don't throw an interception.
Everett off the fake to Bell. Throws the hole ahead. And a first down and a 13-yard pickup out to the 48-yard line. Morrissey making the tackle, and Mike Richardson in the lineup right now. And we mentioned it at the very top. Richardson had missed practice yesterday in a meeting, and even though he's in uniform, Ditka had benched him for Lemuel Stinson at the start of the game, but he's in there right now.
I think he's in there because it was very obvious the Rams were looking for Stinson. They found him a couple of times on that last drive. And I think that Ditka feels he's scolded him enough. He's back in there at corner.
From the 49-yard line, first down. Bell takes it to the 49 of Chicago as Dan Hampton makes the tackle.
Not much going on first down there, but think back to the last couple of times that the Rams have thrown the ball on first down, and they've moved the ball well. I think it's something the Rams are going to have to really be cognizant of the rest of the game, is mixing it up on first down. You're not going to play sluggo football with the Chicago Bears on first down and ram that ball at them. The Rams have had success with play action, some limited rollouts on first down. They've been working. I'd stay with it.
2nd and 8. Bell needs 1 more yard for 1,000. They fake it to him here, and then a flag is thrown as McGee makes the catch and is bumped out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Penalty marker.
Ellard and Richardson got into it downfield, and a flag came flying in.
We need 16 yards.
And the little conservative move on the part of the Rams with the rollout gets good yardage.
Defense number 27. The illegal hands to the face, declined, first down.
Well, Mike Richardson, I'm sure, trying to atone for being sat down on the bench. You could see he had the left hand right up on the face mask of Henry Ellard, and that brings the flag well before anything else happens.
Hit him at the line of scrimmage, and then you saw the flag come in as they were already 10 yards downfield.
That's so tough for a corner. You try to get that good chuck on the wide receiver. If he moves while you move, it's really fairly easy to hit him in the head.
Here's Bell looking for his 1,000 yards, and he gets to the 32-yard line, and he's got it right now. So the Rams this season have a 1,000-yard rusher, a 1,000-yard receiver in Ellard, and that's the first time that's happened in 23 years, and a 3,000-yard passer in Everett, who tonight set a Ram team record. And there it is, up to the minute. The former Ram, of course, leading Dickerson.
And I must point out they're 7-6. So they have had their problems. They were, what, 7-2 4 weeks ago, and then the wheels came off.
2nd and 8. Everett for Ellard, who's out in front, and touchdown.
Ellard just running by Richardson. He came off the bench after being set down as a disciplinary maneuver at the beginning of the game. Get him locked up. He's man-to-man, and Ellard's one of the best, one of the quickest around, and just sprints by Richardson. Richardson knew he was totally out of it. He didn't even make an attempt at it.
I want to tell you what happens back at the line of scrimmage, Joe. It's a block on Mike Singletary that makes this happen.
Here's Lansers for the extra point. The way that drive went, Richardson might want to miss the post-game meeting as well. First touchdown of the game, and the Rams are now on top 13-3. And we'll come back and we'll take a look at the reference just made by Dan when we return to Anaheim. 13-3, Los Angeles.
Doesn't get over there and make this block. Rivera is right in Jim Everett's face. Everett rolls about a yard or two to his right, and this is one of those unsung things, but Greg Bell ought to get an assist on this touchdown pass. If he's not there doing his job, that's a sack, not a touchdown.
10-point lead for the Rams. Gentry. Flag. And a good run back to the 44, but a marker back at the 21. James Washington makes the tackle. And Fred Silva will tell us about the call.
Washington and Gray combined to make the stop.
As you might have guessed, how often do you see it on a kick return?
I think they're putting bigger weights.
On the run back, number 88. Illegal block in the back, above the waist. 10 yards, and it'll be first down.
Len Kozlowski.
I think they're putting bigger weights in those flags. Did you see how far that official launched that thing? That maybe traveled a good 30 yards in the air. They try to get it as close to the point of the foul as they can. And tough job being on a return team, trying to block a guy chasing for 40 yards, and then at the last moment he turns his back in. You don't pull up, you have to, but sometimes you don't. You end up drawing that penalty. That's glad I didn't have to do much of it.
Bears in a hole, down by 10 at their own 11, unable to do anything offensively tonight. Harbaugh throwing on the run, tipped and incomplete. Tipped by Kevin Green. It'll be 2nd and 10 with 1 minute and 26 seconds to play in the third quarter.
This is a good Ram defensive team. I think maybe a lot is going to be made about the fact that it's been Jim Harbaugh playing quarterback tonight, and in some ways some people are going to say that's going to diminish the credit that ought to go to this Ram defensive team. But through the first 3 quarters of this game, which is almost over, they have throttled the Bears. They have just not throttled Jim Harbaugh. They're playing excellent defensive football.
And as much as anything, Dan, they've confused them.
2nd and 10 from the 11-yard line. Harbaugh takes off and gains 4, and the tackle is made by Mike Wilcher. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Funny thing about the Rams, too, as you look at their defense tonight, John Robinson was saying last night they have 5 choices in the first 2 rounds in the 1989 draft, and he said, don't be surprised if we make them all defensive picks.
Not be surprised either. Much of that coming from the Dickerson trade, of course, and I mentioned the size of the Rams. They are very small when you trot out their defensive linemen. They have one player, as I mentioned, he did not start tonight, Greg Meisner, who is over 260. And you look around the NFL, you don't find that very often. The Bears have only 2 that are under 270.
3rd and 5 out of the shotgun. They keep it on the ground. Anderson has the first down and a lot more. And run out of bounds at the 31-yard line by James Washington, the rookie out of UCLA.
Well, this is just a good job of blocking by a very veteran offensive line of the Bears. Colbert, Boards, Hilgenberg, Thayer, and Van Horn. This is handling a lot of movement up front, and they've got to make this happen. They've got to move some people out of the way and give Neil Anderson. Look how Gary Jeter just gets rooted out of there by Mark Boards. And Neil Anderson, well, no one had to tell him where to go. That's a big plus when you've got a group in front of you like that if you're running the ball for the Bears.
16-yard gain, ball at the 32, 1st and 10. Half a minute to play, third quarter. Harbaugh for Muster, who makes the catch at the 50-yard line, takes it to the Ram 49, tackled by Larry Kelm. They're trying to work him into the offense more and more, gradually. Brad Muster.
And the key there is that Larry Kelm was beaten up at the line of scrimmage by Muster, and he got so far behind, he was never even able to turn around and see where the ball was. He had his back to the football the entire way and really had no play on it at all. That'll end up being the last play of the third quarter.
So the Bears on the move. They have it on the Rams side of the 50-yard line. At the end of 3, it's 13-3 Los Angeles. We'll return to Anaheim Stadium after this message about an upcoming show on ABC. And a word from your local station. It's the ultimate 9-yard line, 1st and 10. Anderson picks up a couple to the 47-yard line. It's going to be 2nd down and 8. We're talking about obviously how important this game is to the Rams, but you know, the more you think about it, if you go into that last game of the year and Minnesota, Chicago are a game apart, Minnesota wins, what a gigantic difference between being a wild card and not being a wild card and having home field.
And I'll tell you what else may become a factor there is it may affect more than just the Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Depending upon which one's the division winner and which one would be the wild card team, it could have ramifications for a couple other clubs. Somebody may be sitting watching that game wondering whether they're going to be in or out.
On 2nd down and 8, it's incomplete and off the hands of Eckern. It'll be 3rd and 8. You know, in fact, when you think about it, a wild card team plays at most 1 game at home. You've got to win 1 at home and then 2 on the road to get to the Super Bowl. If you win your division and you have home field advantage, you win 2 at home, you never see the road to get to the Super Bowl.
Of course, Minnesota would be playing indoors, but more than anything, you know the Bears had to watch what Minnesota did yesterday to New Orleans. They just took them apart and took them apart early. They've been playing great football, and if the Bears go in there tied with them, they were beaten by Minnesota earlier in the season. The Vikings could take the division, and very easily.
3rd and 8 from the 47-yard line. Harbaugh to Gentry, and he is down at the 50-yard line. He got up, but he's whistled down at the 50-yard line. Jerry Gray gets credit for the tackle and the Bears to punt.
One other thing I'll toss in there when you're talking about the difference between wild card and division winner, the most obvious of all that you don't even have to say, but that's the fact you play 1 less game. I mean, you get that week off while the 2 wild card teams play. Hey, and after 16 weeks of butting heads, that extra week to get well, to get some of your banged-up guys healthy, that's huge.
And the irony is you could have the 2 teams with the best records in the conference, and, of course, the way it's set up, even if you wind up with the 2nd-best record in the league or in your conference, you could still be a wild card. That happened in New Orleans last year, in fact.
I think they're looking to see whether or not he caught this, whether the ball was on the ground. Dennis Gentry had to go low for this football.
They'll have a hard time finding this conclusively.
Sure, we're digging this up. Kenny Wolf and Craig Janoff and the guys. Let's see. Oh, come on, don't get in the way. Oh, there we go. No catch.
On the ground.
No catch.
On the ground.
That was a good dig.
It was. It was a nice little major league infield move by Gentry, but
yeah,
this one will be overturned. Well, I'm not going to say.
We'll get into that.
Even if it is, there's not much of a difference here between a completed pass and an incomplete pass.
No, but if you got it, you've got to enforce it.
There was a reversal on the last play. It was called an incomplete forward pass, so it'll be 4th down and 8.
Instead of 4th down and 11. That's the difference.
Yeah, but the system works.
Yep.
Occasionally.
You notice the joy on Fred Silva's face when he uttered that word reversal. Boy, you know they just spit it out. They got to hate it.
We got one.
6th punt for Wagner tonight. Hicks and Johnson both are deep for the Rams. In the direction of Johnny Johnson, who falls for the fair catch, but he's going to let it bounce, and it just does get into the end zone. Greg Clark was down there, but it had crossed the goal line. Out it comes to the 20. 13:34 to play. Rams by 10. Is it time for a new look at motorcycle safety? That's the subject matter tonight on Nightline. As Greg Bell on 1st and 10 from the 20 picks up 1. Dan Hampton and Al Harris converge on the stop. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Well, I'm back to reiterating the priorities for the Rams, and even more so now that they have a 10-point lead. No mistakes. I mean, they are, I'm sure, being told on the sidelines by John Robinson and in the huddle by Jim Everett, we can't make a mistake. We cannot give the Bears an easy touchdown. They can't get the ball in our territory. Of course, it's easier to talk about those sort of things than it is to do.
2nd and 9 with under 13 minutes to play. Everett hits Ellard.
Look out.
35 to the 40. Into Chicago territory, all the way to the 30-yard line. Maurice Douglas chases him down. 49-yard gain.
We talked earlier about how quick Ellard is. He has good sustained speed, but his talent really lies in the precise patterns and the quick moves. Now, a little juke upfield, totally juked Singletary out of position, left him standing there, outruns Richardson, turns it upfield, and turns on the speed that he's got, but he turns about a 5-yarder into a big gainer, and at a good time for the Rams.
He now has 1,251 receiving yards, does Ellard. He leads the league in that category at the 33-yard line. Cox in motion. Bell through the middle. Bell inside the 20, inside the 10. Bell out of bounds inside the 1-yard line.
And into the tuba.
Maurice Douglas catches up with him. Irv Pankey through the block that sprung him. Two big plays, and the Rams have a 1st and goal right there.
I'll tell you another big block, Al. Watch Damone Johnson right here just smother Dave Duerson, and then Singletary's going to come over and end up missing the tackle. But watch Damone Johnson right there just smother Dave Duerson. He's going to disappear, and there's the cut to the outside by Greg Bell, and Singletary has to come in late. That's a mismatch. Big Damone Johnson, guy's 235 pounds, going head-to-head.
And they will review this. They may turn this into a touchdown. They've just played it for the crowd. Robinson has seen it. And this is a play that is reviewable. The replay official can signal touchdown. He can tell you if he hits the pylon, still in bounds, he looks like he's in.
Remember, it's got to be conclusive.
To me, that's very conclusive. He's not out of bounds yet.
He hit it before he goes in. Looks good.
I mean, from that angle, certainly it does. Let's see if we can get another look at it. Good. Here's another shot.
Not out yet. It's the pylon. That's a touchdown.
I think you got to put 6. I think you got to put 6 on the board there. I mean, the ball's at the 1-foot line.
Royal Cathcart examining the tape.
No matter what they rule on it, 2 conservative plays. The Rams very patient. They get 2 big gainers out of it. Ellard turns a 2-yard hitch into a big gainer. Simple off tackle to the right. Good blocking. And they may get 6 out of that one.
12:33 remaining in the game.
Now, they're not going to come back and try to say, are they, that his body was inside the pylon, but the football was outside.
No.
I wouldn't want to see him try to make that call.
I think the football was in his left hand, wasn't it? No, it's in the right hand. Okay.
Place then is called first down.
Well, that's an interesting. I mean, there's no question that his body is inside, but the ball's outside. Now, we're going to have to delve into the rule book there. What has to break the plane of the end zone, the ball or the body? Now, if the body swings outside, remember the touchdown run by Neil Anderson against the Packers, how he dove into the end zone and got the ball inside the pylon.
Meanwhile, the Bears, as you saw, have not allowed a rushing touchdown in the equivalent of 10.5 games. And they're saying they could not conclusively tell where the ball was. It's the ball that has to cross the plane.
That's what they're saying, yeah.
Here's Bell, and he still doesn't have it. No gain.
And I can't disagree with their assessment because there's no way you can tell where the ball was. The body, the right leg got inside, but the ball in the estimation before it crossed the goal line.
Right.
That's a good call by the official.
Right.
See, the ball is way out there in the right hand. You see it swung clear out to the right side.
And it's not concluded.
No way.
So it is.
Burst, he had the ball behind him, and you cannot, no way you could tell exactly where it was.
2nd and goal. Bell again dives for the touchdown.
So the 3rd rushing touchdown against these Bears in what, 9 weeks, now 10 weeks?
It's the first since late September. And he has Greg Bell, the NFL lead from Ickey Woods with his 16th touchdown of the year, 14 on the ground, 2 through the air. And the Rams, 2 big plays to get them down inside the 1. Punch it over Lansford to try to tack on the 20th point. If the Bears lose this one, since late 1984, they will have been 45-5 on Sundays and 5-5 on Mondays. It's Monday night, and it's 20-3 Los Angeles. With a victory, and the Bears self-destructing offensively tonight. First half, fumble, punt, interception, punt, field goal. Second half, 4 punts. And they'll get the ball, but they're down by 17, and the time remaining is 11:51. Lansford's kick, taken by Gentry at the 10-yard line. And Dennis, 32 for a 22-yard run back. 1st and 10 Chicago line. Coming up, Jerry Tarkanian and the Nevada Las Vegas Rebels taking on the Arizona Wildcats. College basketball Saturday at 4 Eastern and 1 Pacific time. And then a week from tonight, we'll be at Joe Robbie Stadium, where the Cleveland Browns, very much in the hunt in the AFC Central, take on the Miami Dolphins to conclude week 15 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Harbaugh on first down, pressured to the 31-yard line, and that's a loss of 1. Jim Collins, the linebacker, makes the tackle.
Not a very pretty screen pass. It was easy to read all the way. The lineman pulling out got tied up, and Harbaugh looking to muster all the way.
Well, really, it's tough to blame Harbaugh for that, Frank, and you're right. There was a messed up play from the beginning, but really Keith Van Horn tackle just with such a hurry. Pressure. Haven't stopped those guys at the
2nd and 11. It's dropped at the 46, and it's a fumble out of the grasp of Wendell Davis.
Oh, I don't think he ever had control of the ball, did he?
Well, they have indicated that he has.
And we're going to be looking at another one, I'm pretty sure.
Michael Stewart has.
Looks like Gray might have just knocked it out of.
This is close to whether or not. Right there.
Control it. And apparently they're going to bring it back and call.
Well, he doesn't control this football. He never gets it off his shoulder pad and. And they're not going to waste any time looking at this one either.
That's fine with us.
Great. 3rd and 11 at the